Good morning to whoever may be there.
Morning.
It takes a moment to connect. Hello.
Hi.
I'm getting texts from people who are saying they can't make it. Can you send me the link? All that's kind of happening at the last second.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Good to see you.
Trish, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. So yeah, I'm always kind of rushing at the last minute because suddenly I start getting texts. Hey, what's the link? Like, oh, where can I join? So and then of course half of them don't show up anyway. And we got a couple
You
people
sent it twice.
there's a few people that are trying to show up. Stephanie, Chloe, your friend, she said she was going to try a little bit today. It's a little bit late for her because she's on the East Coast and on East Coast time like you are, Barb. So she doesn't have the commitment you do. And
Right.
Bijal should be here. I'm not sure. Of course, she's in London, so her time's very different. And Kara just texted me and said this is what's confusing. I can't make it today because I lost my phone. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you got that right. I mean, she texted me from her phone saying, I can't make it today because I lost my, and she just texted me again saying, I'm frantically trying to find my phone. So I might be there.
Maybe she's using her computer.
She's using
I don't know.
somebody else's phone.
I don't know. So I'm pretty sure I shared with you guys before. So, the other thing that kind of caused me a quick delay is that at the last second, I realized that Cha-Cha has no food in his bowl. And I'm like, oh, I got to make sure he's got some food so I can
Oh,
sit down
heavens.
and not worry about that. And so I think I showed you this, but
Yes, he sent me that.
I showed you this.
Meow, meow, master.
Namaste.
I
And the
love
thing is, it looks just like him. Like that is him,
Does it?
Yeah.
that's perfect.
So I am never challenged with what I'm going to talk about. I'm always challenged with which thing am I going to talk about. Too many ideas busting forth, and more come up as I meet with students during the week, and in my events, my life happens during the week, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, what about this? What about that? I'm watching something and something inspires me. And I'm like, oh, that's a very important. That's a good topic right there. I got to talk about that. So I will briefly touch on a couple things. One of them is a little bit unrelated. And we have a new person, Elizabeth, that says she should be joining any second here. Hold on, in my notes. So we'll kill a little time and give them a moment. So I watched a documentary on Martin Luther the other day, okay? And I know I'm not an expert on him, but I know his story. I know what he did and all that. And so I thought I'd give it a try. So many documentaries are poorly made. So even if the content's right, they're poorly made, and it's hard to kind of deal with how cheesy they can be. But and I kind of worked through that. Anyway, it was wonderful because it did two things for me. As I struggle at times about my own work and mission to try to preserve and protect original teachings and genuine spirituality rather than what all that's going on that's out there. And I start to think, it's a hopeless cause. Like, what are you doing? You're trying to swim upstream in raging rapids, and it's not going to happen. And I watched Martin Luther thing, and good timing because I was absolutely motivated and inspired. This guy just did not stop, and he put it all on the line. And I finished watching it. I'm like, you know what? I'm a warrior. I'm getting back out there. I'm doing what I got to do for as long as it takes, And the new things that kind of I didn't know is that he did make a couple of mistakes, obvious, as we all do. He wasn't a saint, a realized personality, but his 95 Theses, and of course, his translating into German the Bible, that was a landmark event because some people had access and so, oh my God, what we're being told is a lot of lies. This is the real thing. So that was revolutionary. And the mistake he made was at the end of his career. He was always rather focused on and very passionate about converting the Jewish culture and Jewish religion to Christianity, and was very hopeful about that. And so the downside is that one of the last pieces of work he did, he was always kind of vocal about that, but in a kind of gentle and respectful and kind way. His last work was blasting them. And it ended up being, it's not that, I want to phrase this properly because I know as soon as I say this buzzword, it's going to cast a very dark spell on it. He wasn't that he inspired Hitler. It's that Hitler used some of his stuff that he wrote in his last works to kind of support what he was doing. Okay. And I'm thinking like, wow, that's pretty bad. Like really, what he ends up doing is kind of being exploited by one of the most evil men ever on the planet in history. And then the immediate other reference was, but he also inspired somebody else. He absolutely had a huge effect on democracy, our current governments in the world, which I did not know. And also, Martin Luther King Jr. and Martin Luther King Sr. had different names, and they were so inspired by Martin Luther, they changed their names to Martin Luther because of him. And so Martin Luther King Jr. was massively inspired and motivated. His career kind of began largely because of Martin Luther. His father inspired him. His father was inspired by Martin Luther. So I thought that was pretty fascinating stuff that I thought I'd share real quick to kind of get us into this mood. And then the other thing is, as a selfish indulgence, I clicked on a mini series kind of documentary on pirates. All right. Now, here's where I'm going. This is going to tie into today's topic in a big way. So I remember that a couple years ago, I saw a limited series on pirates on Netflix. I think it was Netflix or Prime. I don't know, whatever streaming that I have, right? One of the two. And I was just blown away. Like I really had a great time watching this. Like it was intense. There was a ton of stuff that I never knew about. It was absolutely, look, we all love the pirate thing, right? The swashbuckling, the sex, the romance, all the danger. We all love that kind of stuff, right? And this documentary that I watched a couple of years ago paid off big time. And it gave me tons of knowledgeable information. All this stuff that I had no idea was taking place in the pirate culture. There was a whole like government. There was a whole like society. It was virtually its own country, right? And so I was really blown away by it. And so when I came across this new one on, I don't know, Hulu, I think it is, I thought, you know what? I like the other one. Let's give it a try. It's probably the same stuff, but let's go ahead and give it a try. Watch one episode and I was like, oh my God, I never knew this person existed. There's a woman, the one I watched yesterday was about a woman that when she was a child, she was the daughter of one of the main chieftains in Ireland of the pirate clan, right? And I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll tell you this one was a juggernaut. I mean, what she did and what and she's out there fighting on her own, fighting with the sword in her hand and changing everything. An absolute revolutionary, threatening all of England. I mean, it was intense. And I'm like, how do we not know about this, right? And I realized as I'm watching this and remembering my last affection for the pirate miniseries that I watched is that I have this automatic draw. And again, we're all kind of intrigued by the pirate story and pirate culture and all that. It's fun, it's romantic. And yet I keep being drawn to it. Like I'm really like into it, right? And I've learned that that's usually a symptom of a sanskar. I have some type of past life connection. So the fact that I probably was some kind of pirate at some point is very likely because there's a lot of them. And so that's where it ties into today's subject is that, again, we can all be interested in something, but one of the ways we can start to connect to, hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, good morning.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. This is Barb. This is Chloe. This is what we have with us today. There's a couple of people that want.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Good morning. And I'm don't mind me. I'm just kind of getting connected here. I got to log in. Plug in. So good morning in just a moment.
Don't mind. We're already in midstream. So I'm kind of wrapping up an introductory topic. So as it leads into the bigger one. So
beautiful. Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So again, I'm watching these episodes of the pirate thing. And again, we all love pirates. It's all intriguing. Everybody loves that kind of story. And I like the historicals. I like the real authentic stuff, right? And so I'm realizing as I'm thinking about today's topic and that I've been thinking about it for a couple of days is that indeed I'm having some type of sanskar pull. And as you were familiar with within the portal, within the prophecy chapter, I'm describing how I went to Egypt and I had no idea that what I was going to see when I went to Egypt. And then there I am face to face with myself. And there was no doubt about it. Like I'm telling you, it wasn't a notion. I had no idea when I went to Egypt. We all assumed we had a lifetime there. We all probably did. Most of us did. But I had no idea specifically what it was. I've never done a past life regression specifically for my Egypt time. And as I'm writing the cupbearer story from my next book, and I got interrupted, and I went to Egypt to research it. Okay. And this is again describing the prophecy within the portal. And as I'm there in Egypt, and I come into this tomb, and I am suddenly, surprisingly, confronted with myself. I had no idea, it wasn't planned. I had no notion of this at all. I wasn't there for that. And there I am in a tomb, in Akhenaten's tomb, and realize, and there's his servants' tombs, right? And so, and the character that's in my story is his servant, is his cupbearer. And I realized at that moment, I mean, as again, the emotions are there in a very intense way, beautiful way, that I realized as I'm face to face with this tomb and this scribe that was serving Akhenaten and Nefertiti, that was me. That it wasn't what I thought I was creating. It was a fictional account of a very important historical legend, and I'm making sure to set the record straight, which is what sent me to Egypt, to make sure I set it straight, which I guess you probably know with the prophecy chapter, that I met with the main director of the site that's in Egypt now, and he and I were hand in hand meditating together. And so all these profound things happen. And that's when I'm realizing, while I'm in Egypt, which I just went to do research, and I'm realizing, oh my God, my story wasn't fictionalized at all. I told the story from the viewpoint of his servant. That's the person I wanted to tell it from. And I'm realizing, oh my God, I'm not making this shit up. Like, that's who I was. I was there. I was watching and witnessing all this stuff. So the reason it was flowing from me, the story, was because as I thought I was creating the fictionalized part of it that you can't historically document, and I ended up finding historical documents to it, was that my creativity was inspired by my latent memories of the past life that I had there. They were very accessible. It was kind of pushing its way up. So again, this kind of ties into today's topic about past life exhaustion. As I mentioned in the notice email for this talk today, that the past life exhaustion, that's a little spin on it. We've talked about past life reincarnation before. We talk about the mechanics of it and how it functions, how it works. And we talk about past life regression with somewhat how you can connect to that. And that's, again, all tied in. The past life exhaustion topic was a little spin on it because it's exhausting sometimes. You know, that for many of us, the old soul concept, you know, when you get older, I'm not exhausted from life. I'm very energetic, as you guys know. I mean, I'm pretty intense, right? And I'm like this in everyday life. And so I'm not a tired person. And yet, in many ways, socially, culturally, and worldly, I'm exhausted. I'm fed up. I'm done. I don't need to see anymore. I've traveled the world. I've had tremendous adventures. And when I think about going exotic places and being a pilgrim again, and I think about that, I'm like, but I've seen what I want to see. That's why I went there. I don't have to see much. There's always more to see, sure, but if I wanted to see it and I had some pull towards it, I went. And then I think, well, what about, I mean, there is definitely some reasons in Egypt that I want to go back to, some things that were in my story that are in my lifetime when I was there that I did not get to go see because I ran out of time when I was there. I was there for 10 days and I did many things, but I ran out of time. I saw most things I wanted to see. And so when I think of that, I'm thinking like, but do you really want to deal with an airport and parking in TSA? No, I don't. Screw that. I don't need to go that bad. I can connect astrally and project my consciousness. I do not want to go through that crap. And again, when in my 30s and 40s, I'm like, yeah, no, it wasn't even considered. It wouldn't even pause. I'd be like, it's just part of the way you had to go places, right? Yes, it's way worse with the COVID and everything else, but it still wasn't, again, it's just and I'm sure Chloe can speak to this. I mean, the bottom line is when you're 30 something, you just really are resilient. You just don't care so much. And Elizabeth, you look pretty young yourself. So you're probably a lot more resilient. And again, in my 30s, I'm like, I don't care. Like whatever it takes. Me to you too. Moose Council. You and I, you know, and again, it's, you definitely, as you mature in a lifetime, it's not that we're settling. It's that we both have been there, done that with so many things. It's like, I don't need to go put all this work in to do these things because I kind of know what I'm going to get from it. And it's not a bad thing. I'm saying that I've done it. Like I don't need to do it again to get what it has to give to me because I have it and I retained it. And again, that's part of my, I think the charm that these sanskars that I was given in this lifetime is that I've always been able to, in the moment, appreciate what I'm doing and see the profundity in it. Most people can see it in hindsight. And I was always knowledgeable before, during, and after. So again, while I'm in Egypt, when all my visits to India, especially, and again, as described in the last trip that I described within the portal, is that while I'm scrambling around all these sacred sites in India, my last visit, again, people might say, but how can you really appreciate it when you're putting so much in every day? And I'm like, number one, I won't want to miss them. I want to make sure I visit them. I don't want to go home and regret that I did not go to these sites. And even though I can't spend all day there, I can stop, I can pause, I can meditate, and I'm putting it all in my head. I'm storing it all in my own Akashic records, my own little file system, right? And so that I can draw from it. So, and I'm paying attention. So indeed, even on a flight home, I'm reflecting in a very intense, emotional, and spiritual way, connecting what my experiences were. And I'm having those moments before, as I plan them and anticipate them. I'm already on my journey. I'm already appreciating. I'm already getting what it has to give. I'm already connecting to it. Then during, of course, when you're there, and there I am in a sacred site, as I'm describing, and literally just blown the F away. I mean, there I am in the prophecy chapter, talking about where I am at. I wasn't even going to go to the pyramids. That wasn't even on my agenda. It was just, it happened because I had some time to kill the last day that I was there. But I wasn't going to go to the pyramids. I'd seen them in pictures. And there I was on this dune, overlooking them. And I don't have a direct past life there during that time that I recall. And yet, the whole thing's coming full circle. And that's part of one of the chapters too, is full circle. Is I'm saying to myself, several years ago, I was fucking dead and told I would never recover. And here I am on a sand dune, overlooking the pyramids on my own. I'm not dead. I'm alive and well. I'm being able to absorb all this. And so I'm getting a bigger experience, I think, than many people that I'm seeing. And when I went, it was very quiet too, as I have a knack for that. I have a way of going to big places where almost nobody's there. There was a handful of people in Cairo that day on Giza. And again, I'm absorbing and appreciating it. So the exhaustion of past lives is there. I remember many of them. I've had a lot of past life regression, and I'm kind of been there, done that with pretty much everything. We all have. We've all been there, done it with literally everything, even though we may not consciously remember it. But as a spiritualist and mystic and practicing in all these methods and having multiple past life regressions that are very much in depth and detail, I do remember them, many of them. And again, they're not like vague memories. Most of them are very vivid, as clear and vivid memories as they have in this lifetime. And the exhaustion part is, it's just, you do accumulate a certain amount of experience and stress and disappointments, because let's face it, a lot of lifetimes don't end well. Most of them don't. And the ones that do, you don't remember those because you don't need to learn from those. Whatever you did right, you're not going to remember, recall. You need to recall the tragic ones because that's what's going to teach you how to move on, right? So past life regression is for. It's a learning tool to develop our consciousness, our spirituality, to realize again and again and again, if I don't get it right, I'm coming back. People say they're not afraid of death, and I'm like, well, I'm not afraid of death either. It ain't no ending. Was always aware of that since I was a child. I'm afraid of death because it ain't an ending. You have to come back again and again and again. There's my joke that reincarnation is like Groundhog Day, the DMV, again and again and again, and it's just repetitious. And again, I have an adventurous life. When you read my stories, you're like, this guy has done it all. Nice to see you. Hi, Lori. So again, I think it's this yin yang blend that we all need to have. I can simultaneously experience past life exhaustion because I'm kind of been there, done that, and I don't need to do a whole lot more. And at the same time, I'm always appreciative and grateful and vibrant within the experiences themselves. I may not go to India again. I may not. I don't know. I may go somewhere exotic. I may go to Egypt. I don't know. I kind of want to, but again, when I think TSA, parking, airport, I don't want to deal with that. It ain't worth it. Like I've been there, I've done it, and yes, I'd like to do more, but not because of if I could teleport, I would, and I kind of can. So I'm gonna go that route. No TSA when I'm teleporting. When I'm doing astral travel, no TSA. God, those guys are stupid. Oh my God, they're lame. I don't want to judge, but let's face it. I think that even when they hire smart people for TSA, they make sure they say, look, part of your job description is you got to tone that way down. We've got to be dumb here. When you clock in, you got to take this medication and cut half your brain off. Let's not go there. So, as I'm sharing with you this bizarre phenomenon, as I'm watching a pirate documentary on Hulu yesterday, and I'm really into it. Again, this woman, what she did was phenomenal, right? And I'm enjoying it. I'm entertained. The minutes are just flying by, and I'm like into it. And I realize that my passion for it is very similar to my passions of particular phase of ancient Egypt. And again, Egyptology was always a fascination of mine. But when I went to the Rosicrucian Museum in San Jose, when I was 8 years old, something happened. I wanted to go, and I begged my mom to take me. I'm 8 years old. Okay. I got books on Egyptology at 7, 8 years old. I'm reading, right? I'm kind of a nerd, right? I'm begging her to take me. She finally gives in and takes me. And as I'm there, I feel I'm just a kid. I'm fascinated by this. I'm into it. But something's taking place. Now I know that what's happening is my sanskars, my past life memories are being activated. They're being triggered. And so some layers of my conscious are aware of this, and they're connecting. So, and again, what's not within the portal in the prophecy chapter is that my recon mission to move here back to California. I came out here, spent about a week looking around places where I would want to live and feeling the whole thing out. And then I suddenly was like, you know what? Airport, got to leave the next day, blah, blah, blah. Here's the window of time. I got some like 4 hours to kill. I got nothing to do. I'm bored. I can't just sit in some shitty hotel room because that's all I would pay for. When I'm doing that kind of thing, I'm not going to get like a nice place. So I'm like, and so I'm like, well, you know what? The Rosicrucian Museum happens to be close by. And oh my God, they're going to be closing it at 1 today. And so I can make it. And I went. And there I am in the Rosicrucian Museum that triggered my Egyptian sanskars when I was a child, walking around there. And there's an alchemy wing upstairs, which I never knew about, which wasn't there when I was growing up. There's an alchemy wing. And as I walk up in the alchemy wing, and I'm walking through the alchemy level, as you know, I'm a certified alchemist, a master alchemist, taught by Dennis William Hawk, who I emailed with today. And as I'm walking through the alchemy wing upstairs of the Rosicrucian Museum, I'm looking at the alchemy displays and all this wonderful stuff, and I'm hearing this voiceover describing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I know that voice. That's Dennis. That's my teacher. That's him. He's the one that founded it and established it. He and I are now in contact right now. And we're arranging me to go there and talk in alchemy. Everything comes around in a circle, right? The full circle kind of concept. It's no mistake. All of these things are coming together. And again, my fascination with Egyptology, as many of us have, especially as mystics and spiritualists, that's one of our first areas of curiosity, is because we do have some kind of latent memory that's there, even if we're not accessing it. And what I did not know as a child when I went there, and it's coming into full focus, is again the connections. The Rosicrucian Museum in San Jose is one of the only ones that has a full display on Akhenaten himself. Okay, they're not playing it up, they're not playing it down. It's just rare that even somebody's not just mentioning him. Many of them mention him, but they have a whole kind of display on him. Okay, a couple things, and the alchemy thing is connected to it. anyway, what we see again, as I'm jumping back and forth with this pirate documentary, I'm seeing the connections as I'm plugging into, as I refer to the 93 current, agape, plugging into this current of my underground stream, past life connections. It flows, it takes you along. Again, you flow with the current of it like an underground stream, and it's taking me along. And I'm seeing all these connections. The Akhenaten, my past life, it was not just in Egypt, it was particularly with him in Nefertiti. My trip to Egypt 2 years ago. All these things coming around full circle, connecting. This is the antithesis of past life exhaustion. This is past life vibrancy, a recharge. Day to day, there's a past life exhaustion. I mean, listen, I have a lot of people that want to know about their past lives, that seek me out for counsel and all that, and I'm happy to do it. Okay, I enjoy it. But as those who know me well know that my motive is not simply to entertain them. In the beginning, most people want to have past life experience because they want to be entertained by it. They don't really know why, but it is entertaining. As they get to know it, I'm leading them to things that they particularly need to know. Now, we've all got infinite lifetimes, infinite. You can't count them. They're uncountable. And so why would a certain collection of lifetimes, my one with Nefertiti and Akhenaten as a servant, that's 3,500 years ago, why these particular lifetimes are surfaced in this lifetime? If I've got an infinite amount of them, why aren't they the most recent ones? Why are they scattered around with different eras? And again, my past life regression in this lifetime, the ones that stand out the most are kind of spread apart. There's this one with Akhenaten and Nefertiti that is a huge, important lifetime. And there's a couple of my most recent ones, turn of the century. One that I had in the UK, again, that's also described in my next book. These are specifically arranged. Your past lives, memories, are specifically arranged. And as you know, I refer to the Akashic agents, the administrators that facilitate these dynamics. The Akashic agents have all these lifetimes of yours that they can choose from. That's like their menu. And they can arrange specific ones for who you're going to be in this lifetime to give you the best benefit to be able to progress and develop your own spirituality in this lifetime. And it's always the same agenda. There's one primary agenda, to simply bring you closer to God, and that's it. Simply to bring you closer to God, to love God, to honor God, and to experience God's love for you. Always the same agenda, done in different ways. So what we want to try to do when we delve into the past life regression and past life exhaustion and vibrancy concept is to ask ourselves, what do I want from this? And again, here's a tool to use. As I'm watching this pirate thing, again, anybody would be interested. It's a curious topic. It's fun, but I'm having a different emotional trigger for it. A passion. And that's the best way to describe it. A passion, not just an interest, not just a curiosity, but a passion. Something is connecting. This is your intuition hollering at you. Oh my God, you remember this. Not consciously, but here I am. I'm beneath the surface. You were there. And again, there I was in Egypt. Sure, the whole time I'm there, I'm assuming I know that I was there at some point. I figure, who knows, maybe some just village bystander or whatever. And it wasn't until I got there and I'm in that tomb where it comes hitting me in the face. And I'm remembering in detail who I was, where I was, what I was, the events that occurred, and how it plays into this lifetime. The catalyst. All of your lifetimes have one primary goal: to give you an opportunity to spiritually develop, to make progress in your soul's journey to the Godhead, to God's love, divine love. It's up to us to connect with them and ask ourselves, well, how does this help me connect to that? Now, I got to tell you, I am far from understanding if I had a pirate life, I'm far from understanding how that is going to have anything to do with my spiritual journey. I can't see connect. These guys were not very spiritual at all. Okay. And so my current theory is this, that why would I maybe connect to and remember a past life, pirate past life, when it may not have anything to do with my soul's journey? Nothing spiritual, no spiritual content there. What I've also observed in my past life regression work is that it can be rather random. You past life connect and you connect into the 93 current of an underground stream of the Akashic records, and you get what you get. It's just all there, right? In a similar way, on your TV and on your radio, everything's out there. What you tune in on is what you can focus on. But again, if you just turn the TV on, you're gonna get what you get. So many of the past life sanskars, triggers, etc., and memories, they're just there. So I don't know that there's any spiritual value in my remembering a past life in my pirate days, other than being entertained by it. It's just part of the frequencies and stuff that's just coming in along with all the other stuff. So it may be wiser for me for that one and a couple other ones to just set it aside. Like, it just comes in, you know. So just a radio song that I don't really give a shit about. That's not going to do me any good. Occasionally, rarely, I like to drive usually nowadays with no music playing. I don't want to bother trying to find something that's going to fit my mood, you know. Been there, done that. Radio, forget about it. And so, but the other day I thought, you know what, I'm in the mood for some music and I had to go somewhere and I'm kind of pushing the dial. Sure enough, a cool song came on and I'm kind of into it. And so again, the point is that there's all these radio frequencies doing what they do. It's playing all the time, whether you tune into it or not. Same with God's grace. God's grace is omnipresent and it's everywhere all the time, all around you. All you got to do is tune into it. You don't have to do anything to deserve it, because you don't deserve it. You can never be worthy of God's grace or God's love, which is the same thing. It's simply to tune into it. When you put your mind to it, it puts your mind to its mind to you. And so as I might be channel surfing or station scanning, you pick up different things. A pirate one, right? If I'm working with a student that I'm helping helping to achieve passive regression, they might tune into these certain lifetimes. They may not have any real value to their spiritual journey. And I might advise them, you know what, I wouldn't bother with this too much. I'm picking up intuitively and on other layers that this isn't really relevant to you. It's just some of the stuff that's coming, some of the frequencies that are coming in. Change the station, you know, turn the dial. Go to something that has more significance to you. Because we automatically think, whatever we're remembering, it's such a fascinating thing, such an extraordinary thing, especially when you're having passive regression that is detailed. Like, it's not some vague, abstract kind of thing. They have a feeling to them that are just as real and genuine as they do in this lifetime, all your memories. And so again, the trap can be that we can focus on these lifetimes that might not have any actual value to them. We're wasting our time. And this is the material phenomena. Material phenomena is always going to dangle things in front of us to distract us, because that's what it does. That's not evil. It's just what it is. And our mind, which is made of material phenomena, made of Maya, is drawn to these things because they're the same. So it's up to us with our free will, our determination, our ability to scrutinize, to choose what we want to associate with and what not. We can change the dial. Bottom line is, I see a reality show come on, I'm turning the dial. I'm not even, don't even pause. It's not even a consideration for me. Like, I'm not, well, what's this one about? Nope, don't care. I already know what they're all about. They're all about crap, all about superficial crap, about people's made up dramas. I'm not even gonna, no, but maybe one, no, none of them, not one, not gonna happen. I don't know. But you might be missing it. Yeah, I guess I could FOMO for missing. I guess that's possible, but I'm willing to take that risk. It's not worth the risk. So again, if I spend any time diving into the pirate life, which I clearly am giving me seeing more clearly that I definitely had one. Now, usually when they start to beckon me, like my Egyptology ones did, beckon me. There's significance there. They're trying to get my attention because there is something I need to learn from there that I can't apply into this lifetime. Sometimes the benefit is to resolve karmic issues with people or things or events with yourself. And that's what past life regression can be beneficial for. But let's face it, we can't change the past. We can reconcile it, make peace with it, maybe pay a karmic debt. But typically it's better to move forward, not go back. But is there a value in a past life memory in this current life, in our spiritual development? Again, where pirate life is concerned, I seriously doubt it. I think all I'm going to see in a pirate life is that I wasted my time, that I was just a hedonist and I was just doing my own thing for profit. And what I learned from that when I went to the other side after that life was, yeah, that was a waste of time spiritually. That might have been a lot of fun, but that was a waste of time. Nothing spiritual content there. But again, the ones that push and nag me for attention, for me particularly, because I'm so involved in my spiritual progress and development, that's all my life means in it and has been for most of my life, it's trying to get my attention for a reason. So maybe there is some type of spiritual purpose to know this. You have a question? Oh, you.
No, I don't. My
I
son
see
Joaquin
hands
is here.
raising.
He's just like checking things out. That's my son.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
because when I see hand raised, yeah.
I have,
The guy in the middle. The guy in the middle. What do you want? No.
I have a reason, maybe
He's
simply
a little-
for the
Go ahead,
purpose
Chloe.
of you giving us an example for this talk of how sometimes the stuff that comes in our head should just go out the other ear. So that's the value.
You know what? Thank you. You're correct. That is, you know what? That is profound. I would have missed out on that. I wouldn't have thought about that. And you're 100% correct. The value is so that we can see, you know what? We can exercise our free will and choose. I have a choice where I can focus on something spiritual or this because it's entertainment. I can choose to turn the dial. And here's the thing. When you choose with your free will, when you choose a spiritual agenda or even entertainment, then you're making a spiritual choice. You're doing sadhana, spiritual practice. You are absolutely doing your yoga. You're doing your stuff. Simply making that decision by choosing that this is not important and this is. So, and that has a tremendous value. And that's what I would refer to as the bonus bhakti points, right? The bonus spiritual points, the bonus spiritual karmas. So there is value in that. And that could be just it. Listen, in that same theme, I had some interaction with somebody recently that it began with some real potential to collaborate together on some bigger projects, okay? And it took a couple of weeks for me to realize, you know what, this is a dead end waste of time. Like this is literally just sucking up a lot of time and not going anywhere. And I don't think it has the potential. My intuition was giving me the clear feeling that this was not productive, that this is wasting time. It takes me a while to kind of listen to that and tune into it. And eventually I did, and I felt a sense of relief. And so the power of that, to realize that for once, before it got way down the line, I'm nipping it in the bud. And there's a benefit in that because it empowers me and makes me realize and remember this means that if I've done it once, nipping in the bud, maybe next time I can nip it even closer to the bud, right? Our past, of course, is obviously a learning tool so that we do not repeat the same mistakes. The point of past life regression, past life memory is simply to teach you what not to do and to help to benefit with what you can do, what is good. But again, the reality is as we go back within the portal, as I'm there in the early stages of the book and the story with the Akashic agents and saying to them when they give me the option for the multiple life review instead of just one multiple life review. And I say, yes, but I only want to see the lives that pertain to my spiritual journey so I can come closer to God, so I can see what I did wrong and what I did right. So I can continue what I did right and add more, and I can avoid what I did wrong. the reality is what I did right is minimal. Because otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd be God realized, I'd be done with old reincarnation garbage and I'd be done. Right? So what I did right helped me make some progress, but eventually I must have sabotaged and done something wrong because here I am again reincarnated as a stupid human. And that's why the focus was on just that. My passive regression work, which is why it can be so exhausting, is I want to see what I did wrong. I want to see what I missed out, the opportunities that I missed. And I'll tell you, there's a couple lifetimes that I want to know very badly. Okay. And typically when I want to know them, like I can teleport there pretty quick. Train myself and know how to do the work. There's a couple of them that I am very curious about. And also, I don't want to know. I know that 500 years ago, I had the darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in India. I know this because there's no way I have such a connection and an actual affinity to pay attention to the Vaishnava philosophy, etc., unless I did. And I was told by a saint that I had connected with him, but I have no details or memory. Now, that's such a huge, significant lifetime, such a pivotal point in my spiritual journey. Why would I not remember that one? I remember Stonehenge, and I remember being a ceremonial magician. I remember all these other things, Egypt in detail, and yet I don't remember this when it's the main catalyst. Part of the fear, the reason I don't want to know is because I must have done something wrong. Maybe I betrayed. Maybe I simply had all this opportunity to associate with a divine Rasic saint, an avatar, and rejected it. Obviously, I did not complete my soul's journey by becoming God realized with Chaitanya. Possibly, I had some intuition that he was going to come back in my guru Kripalu, and I would have a better opportunity, and it'd be more of a direct association. I don't know. Bottom line is, the few times that I have made some type of effort to connect with that lifetime, it doesn't really go anywhere. So clearly I'm not allowing access that station. It's not coming in, right? And secondly, that I think part of that, because I've done this with passive regression many times, my first sets of passive regression were very intense and very dark. Me and my partner, Leah, who's mentioned in both of my books, and I was asking her, like, why can't I see it? Like, it's all blurry. Why can't she goes, you don't want to know because you're blocking it. You don't want to see the trauma. You're afraid. There's a part of you that is very aware that if you see it, you're gonna be traumatized. And so you don't want to see it. You're blocking it. It's denial. Spiritual denial. That's a protective mechanism. I can't know for certain why I can't connect to my passive exposure to darshan with Lord Chaitanya when he was here. It may not be anything tragic. It may not be anything. It may be something good. I don't know. I'm not going to fixate on it. I'm going to move on from it, and I'm going to assume that's for good reason because God's in charge. Yes, Lord.
Now, here's something that interesting that happened with me. As you know, I'm a recovering white collar professional, and yeah, and I'm also a recovering Christian. Anyways, as you know, Brian Weiss is who taught me my past life regression stuff. He's the psychiatrist who came out of Columbia or Cambridge and then went down to Miami, Florida, and he got kicked out of medicine because he does past life regression, and there's truth to it. Anyways, one of his courses, he said, we're going to go back in time first, and then we're going to go forward in time. And I was not hypnotizable. I was so anal retentive. I just went to be entertained, you know? And so interestingly, the first time I just was hypnotized and I thought, oh shit, I can be hypnotized. And then the second time when he said you're going back in time and going forward, interestingly, I was killed in some chariot race in ancient Rome going back in time. And I did not come back from that hypnosis because I was so somnambulant, because I was so into hypnosis. And I don't go that deep because wasn't meant to learn my future. And only 10% of that class of 120 were able to go into the future at 500 years or 5,000, or no, 500 and 1,000 years. And apparently it's just because we're here to do the footwork and we're not meant to see the end because we contribute towards it. That's what I make up.
Yeah, I also, as I mentioned within the portal, that I was given past life review, and I was also given living life preview. So, and I can and do, and again, in my next book, which is about past life memoirs, past life experiences, there's 28 stories from past lives, and many of them are in the future. Now, again, the difference is past life or future life preview is different because it's not a hard destiny. It is changeable. Okay, so you can gain some insight to them, and you can see what your options are. These are, if you do the right things, that can come out this way. If you do the wrong things, that come out that way. Kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge seeing the Ghost of Christmas Future. He saw that, and it was clearly going to be tragic and dark, and yet he had the option to, with his free will, to change it. Indeed. Now, I also am a clinical certified hypnotherapist, and I'm very good at it. And I've done a lot of past life regression with people. And yes, I know about somnambulism. And I'll tell you, I on the occasion that I would have somnambulists, which, by the way, for those who don't know, when you do the countdown, you put them under. When it's somnambulist, when you say, okay, deep sleep, literally, they just, like, literally, those ones that you want on a Vegas show, they will literally do everything. They'll cluck like the chicken, they'll do all that. And no one else will. So as a stage show hypnotist, you're trained how to find the somnambulist in the crowd. That's who you pick. So it's not just random. Like, I know how to pick a somnambulist when I meet one without hypnotizing them. Indeed, doing past life regression specifically, but pretty much all my hypnotherapy work. When somebody's a somnambulist, I bring them up. I don't let them stay there because otherwise it's just too deep of a trance. Now, if they're here for smoking cessation, then yes, somnambulism works great. A modification of diet and weight loss and things like that works great. But everything else, I got to bring them out of somnambulism. I got to give them more to a shallower state. So, because otherwise they don't retain it. And so indeed, the past life regression process. And again, I would say to people that many people sought me out in hypnotherapy for just past life regression. And I would always preface it as I'm doing the induction and easing them into it. Part of what I'm saying to them is, I'm trying to remember the script and the phrasing of it, but something along the lines of the fact that I didn't want them to, don't worry about what you see and how genuine it is, if it's historical or not. Bottom line is anything you see and experience is there to teach you something. Whether it literally happened in time and space is irrelevant. Even if your mind is manufacturing this with some type of imagination, it's fine. It's manufactured for a reason. It's giving you the connection and the knowledge that you want to need anyway. So whether it's literal or not, doesn't matter. And sometimes you can remember somebody else's past life because it's what you need to know. Somebody you knew, somebody didn't know. So, and I've seen this as well, even in my own case. I'm not 100% certain that every past life regression that I experience is literally my soul. The 28 stories in my next book, The Underground Stream, a past life, a memoir of past lives is what it's going to be called. Is some of these stories are not literally my stories. I'm trying to expose and share the true account of religion and spirituality, of history, the true accounts, the underground stream, not our people version of them. And to do that, I created fictional characters to drive these stories along. And the theme is that this is one soul that gets born again and again and again. And we're witnessing it in firsthand. And again, when I was doing the Akhenaten story called The Cupbearer, I know the story. I've done my research. I've been studying for much of my life, and I'm excited about telling it. And as I'm doing it, more stuff's coming up, more surfacing. And as I'm telling the story, I thought literally that my cupbearer character, I chose that because I didn't want the story to be told from the Akhenaten point of view. I'm not him. I can't know. He was a pharaoh. He was a mystic, all these things. I can't, it's just weakens the story, I think, to tell it from his point of view. It makes it more legit and easier to read and process if you're getting it from a third point, right? So as an author, I'm making these decisions because I think it's better for the pace and the theme of the book itself, right? And again, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's like taking a life of its own. The story is just telling itself. And it's surprising me. I mean, I'm telling them like, oh, that's a great idea. Wow, that's awesome, right? And I don't know where they're coming from. But that's, again, a creative process. And so again, the fact that I thought the entire this is the crown story of the book. Okay, there's 28 stories, and this is the main one. Okay, it's like story 4 or 5. It's not in the end or anything else, but it's what the pinnacle kind of part of the book. And I had no idea that I was having real past life memories until I got to Egypt to do research for the book. And I went there simply as a researcher. I wasn't going there because I had any past life inclination. I was just doing research. Okay, and again, I found out when I got there. Again, it really doesn't matter whether our past life regression memories are legit and historical, part of our imagination, maybe somebody else's that we're kind of borrowing, witnessing, third person kind of thing where we're observing it, or our own. The bottom line is, what can it teach us? In what way the benefit of seeing what I did wrong in my soul's journey and lifetimes is, again, to avoid the mistakes of the past. Obviously, and there's the emotions that come, because when I'm onto some kind of truth, something that I know is legit and genuine, it kind of floods in me. When I come across and brush up against a lifetime, again, as I try to focus and see, I didn't really want to know what happened when I had Chaitanya's darshan. I want to know why I couldn't know it, which is kind of the same thing. But I'm kind of like, but if it's bad, I don't want to know. I don't want that trauma. I don't want to know. And so again, it's the intent. What do I need to know from this? What can I know from this? Now, obviously, if I was with Gautam Buddha when he was on the planet as an avatar, and I rejected his teachings, what I'm going to learn is that you had an opportunity, you blew it. But that's just a general statement. How? Why? What made me misunderstand that? What made me reject that? What made me turn the other way and go back to the world instead? It's not enough to learn and get insight of the things we did wrong, but we need to do the work to find out why we did it wrong. To learn from the mistakes of the past and not repeat them in the future requires introspection. And as I caution all my passive regression clients that come to me for this service, I warn them and let me listen, you got to apply for it, because many times I won't do it. Okay. If they want to be entertained, I won't do it. It's where they want to learn something. I want to know what their intent is. Same with the readings. Most of the readings that I do, you got to reply for it. You got to apply. You got to request it. And I'll see if your intention is good. And I'm not trying to be the judge. I'm simply saying that, again, I sense a lot of people that just want to be entertained, right? For material reasons. Anyway, so I caution them when I pass that regression work, because I make it very clear. It's way more likely that the lifetimes you're going to remember are traumatic, not simply easygoing. What can you learn from a life that you just were a celebrity and had wealth and everything was smooth and worked like butter? What can you learn from that? Why would your mind retain this and be able to make it accessible to you if you couldn't learn from it? It's not going to bother. So be careful, because what you're going to experience is likely going to be traumatic on some level. And again, I refer to this lifetime within the portal. I tell the whole story in Underground Stream, which is not out yet. That I have a lifetime, Stephen, that when I think about it, I am so horrified, so ashamed of the evil that I did. It It wasn't just the evil, it's the brand of evil. What I do is I made people insane through touch. I could do that. Okay. And it was just they were insane. They looked and seemed insane on the outside, but inside they were aware of it and they couldn't control it. So they were totally logical and sensible inside, and yet could not do anything but appear mad and insane on the outside. And I caused that. It is such a horrifying and daunting and dark memory. It's traumatic to think about. And again, it's easy to think, but that's not you. That was thousands of years ago. Okay, is when that occurred. Thousands. Prehistory. In one of our prior, before Pralaya, before our last manifestation of this Earth planet. That's how long ago it was. So why am I remembering that in this lifetime? It's one of the first past life regression experiences that came to me, was that one when I was 25. And it was intense. It haunts me to this day. The value is I'm reminded how fucking evil I can be. Never rest on your laurels and think that you are all good. Now that you think you're all bad, but never lose sight of the fact that many people turn dark and turn evil even when they're not in the beginning. This, I think, is a shade and another cornerstone of humility, which is the cornerstone of all spiritual realization, is humility. Without that, you're nothing. You got all that, then you're done. So the benefit is that it reminds me that as good, virtuous, dharmic I can be in any lifetime, I have been and can be a sinister, evil person. And it also reminds me, as I see the evil, sinister people in this world, thereby by the grace of God go I, and I've been there and I've done that, and so who am I to judge them? This is their lifetime they're doing it, and I did one too, and I've done many of them. I've destroyed worlds. We all have. Destroyed worlds. And so who am I to judge? There's multiple layers that are valuable in this. See my own mistakes, to forgive others for their mistakes, and see them as souls, not people. All these values. So as I caution people in past life regression work, you may not like what you see. Oh no, I want to see. I'm curious. Famous last words, right? And I remind them, as I remind all my students, when they're going to start to have spiritual awakenings, be careful what you wish for, because once it happens, you can't call it back. Remember, within the portal, where I'm saying on my hands and knees and angry at God, saying, I don't want some white light. I don't want some pillar of fire. I want to see you face to face, and I don't care what it takes to do it. I want to know you intimately, directly, nothing else. And if you can't do that, well, then I quit, right? I was so passionate and so intense. Well, when you speak from the heart, God listens. And once it all started to unfold, it's like, okay, you remember, and they literally said this to me, don't forget, you asked for this. Please remember in your darkest times, you asked for this. I'm like, whoa, wait. Oh, no, you can't take it back now. Too late. It's already set in motion. You can't take it back. You wish from your heart. It's sincerely from your soul. So you can't take it back now. Now I'm very cautious. When I get very passionate about trying to get my spiritual development going in big, giant, cataclysmic ways, I'm like, whoa, no. I'm cool. Let's go gradual. Yes, I'm lucky to have fortunate to have survived the ones that I've endured, emotionally, mentally, physically, etc. And so I'm not asking for any more. I'm not like, yeah, well, I did those, so yeah, keep. And that was my attitude, especially through my 20s and 30s, and even in my 40s. Bring it all on. Don't just bring it on. Bring it all on as intensity. And I was sincerely, with tears in my eyes, basically saying, I'm your child. If you love me, which I know you do, you know that I love you. And whatever you got to do, you're my father. You're my divine parent. So whatever you got to do, that is shifted subtly. And it's not that I don't trust God. I don't trust myself. I literally am now saying, you know what? I'm 58. I've been killed. I came back. I endured it all. And listen, I don't think I can do another one. So I think if you got any more, just keep it for next life if you have to, whatever. I can't take any more. I gotta take it easy. Let me see, I got a message here. It went away, Lori. Hold on, let me bring it up. God never gives you something you can't handle, but you don't find it. Don't you find it amazing how capable you are? Yes, and I'll tell you, obviously, I eventually converted this into within the portal, which I was very reluctant to do. And certainly, it inspires a lot of people, and it's the intention from the beginning, which I did not know consciously. I was just following my spiritual orders, my directives. Then I saw when it was done and when it started to be produced and published. And I was told in the final prophetic chapter of the book that I share, that I was told the reason you did this is because it's going to change lives. It's going to have a big effect. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a massive population or just a few people. I don't know. All I know is this: that part of the prophecy is absolutely coming true already. The few people that are exposed to this and reading it and experiencing it, it is changing the way they think and feel. And I joke all the time, right, about the fact that, well, that's great for you that I died and went through all that shit. Good for you. I didn't really want to do it. It hasn't been good for me. I mean, it's not paying all my bills. It's not doing much for me. So that's great. And I'm a servant. I didn't do it for you. I didn't do it for any of you. I did it because it's what God wanted me to do. But the God power drug me to do, I did. Okay. So, and again, even if when my Swamiji teacher, this guy in the lower picture, would tell me, go out into the gardens and dig a ditch, I go and dig a ditch. And if he told me to take all the dirt from that ditch and put it back in the next day, that's what I did. Whatever happened, whatever you want. Our job and our duty is to serve our divine master, to serve our divine parent, whatever that is. It's not what I want to do. It's what he wants me to do. Past life exhaustion. Part of the takeaways, what I want you to enjoy from this. Let's keep it back to the lighter side a little bit. When you're listening to a song, when you're watching, there's a good example. We all have this happen. Something comes on the radio and it reminds us nostalgically of something that happened in our youth, right? There was a long time that anytime I smelled a gardenia, even to this day, because here I am mentioning it, a gardenia. One of the first girls I fell in love with, she had gardenias in front of her house. Okay. She used to bring them to me when we got together. All right. Throughout my life, gardenias have always evoked this awesome, beautiful sensation that reminds me of what romantic love is about. And it's something pleasurable and something fun. Right. And so this nostalgia, when you hear a song on the radio, when you watch something, as I'm watching this pirate documentary, when it triggers some type of emotion in you, it's calling out to you. And it's reminding you that you don't just exist here and now. You're an eternal soul. You're going to continue on. You always have. How you're going to do it is up to you, but you're gonna, one way or the other. So you get to choose. And if you're interested in this and you're curious about it, well, then it's because your consciousness is remembering it. How exciting is that? That's fun. And I got to tell you, again, that maybe I don't have anything to learn spiritually from this pirate lifetime. I had a lot of fun. It's better than what I would normally maybe watch when I'm killing time with a little bit of TV in the afternoon. It's maybe in the evening, maybe an hour or so, I'll wind down with some television kind of stuff. And I'm like, what crap am I going to watch? Because all that's out there is crap. Anything that isn't crap, I've seen it before. Because if it wasn't crap, I saw it, And so this pirate thing, I'm like, you know what? This is a great way to spend the time. I mean, I was kind of like, and my thing is like, I'll usually like save it. Like, I don't want to waste it. I want to make sure that because there's such little to entertain me. So I want to make sure I save it. And then I'm like, why are you watching something you don't want to watch? You're trying to save this. You could die tomorrow. Just watch it and enjoy it. Right. And so, if nothing else, I'm being entertained and I'm having another level of enjoyment with it, because there's a part of my consciousness that's remembering things that I maybe was there, not in this particular story. I don't know which one I was. I have no idea. I haven't gone there. I haven't done passive regression my entire life, but it's just an intriguing, fascinating topic. And again, this is the fun of it, is that indeed you can be entertained by passive regression and past life memory. And also, as with all things, why not take a look at it and think, also, by the way, while I'm here, what can I learn from it? Again, the handful of past lives I mentioned within the portal are told elaborately in my next book. They're already written. The past life that I mentioned about my time in Stonehenge, which wasn't back in the ancient days when it was made at all. It was already an ancient relic by the time I was getting there. We're looking at I think it was 1500s that I was there. And as I did the regression on this, it became very clear. I mean, I was like watching a film, right? The draw, the entertainment, the lessons. And again, I feel that my role as I start to tune into something is, what can I learn from this? How can I benefit from this? I already know that ceremonial magic is not my way to God. Okay. I love it. It's fascinating. It does have spiritual overtones to it, but it's not my connection to God. It's not my path. So I don't need to learn that. I don't want to really spend any time in my lifetime, this lifetime, with it. That's not my pursuit. So, but again, it resolves things. It reminds me, if nothing else, keep in mind the part of the story in the book where I talk about the cats and the UFOs. My friend Leah, when I'm telling about the UFOs and the cats in the sky the night before, and the cats on the ground, and I'm telling her this, and she says, and I'm like, what do you think it means? Trying to analyze it. And she says, you're overthinking this. Don't analyze it. It simply means that you're not alone, that you are loved. And suddenly I went from all this trying to understand the mystery, like Stonehenge and past lives and alien life and all these mysteries, trying to understand what's it telling me. I'll never forget it. That really the central theme is simply, purely and sweet. You're not alone and you are loved. And past life memories and past life connection is to remind you that this life is just one of countless lives. Make the most of it, because you're going to keep getting them if you don't. And they're all going somewhere if you allow them to be. To remind you that you are not in the here and just in the here and now, that you're an eternal soul. And don't forget that. We so quickly forget that we are eternal souls. I think that, again, in my bhakti path, my bhakti yoga path, what we get to enjoy as I read about Rasic saints, as I read about the avatars of Lord Krishna and his time in Madhura, in Madhuri with Radha in Barsana, which I've gone to many times. It's fun. It's intimate. It's not just some like fire and brimstone, oh my God, do this or else you're all going to die kind of thing. It's sweet. It's fun. It's loving. When I was in Vrindavan and I'm walking down this old village road, no one's around. No one, not one soul that I could even see. We're talking about India, which is kind of hard to do, but in Vrindavan, it's a little bit less, a little bit more quiet. And I'm using my book and all this, and I'm realizing, oh my God, I happen to be in the exact spot that Radha first saw Krishna when they were here 5,000 years ago. I happen to be in that exact spot where they first laid eyes on each other. And it's not teaching me a lesson. It's not reframing me, rewiring me, traumatizing me, or anything. It's simply loved. It's simply beautiful. It's simply, oh my God, look where I am in this moment. It's honor and gratitude, right? This is part of the benefit of some of the past life work. And again, be careful of past life exhaustion, because the downside of past life regression, having so many memories that are so very vivid in my work in my life, because they happen spontaneously, or I can channel into them, is that there's definitely a very pervasive feeling of been there, done that, and the world just bores the shit out of me. I just don't find it entertaining. Again, what I find entertaining, what I want to do, I've done it, I've seen it. Again, it's not that I've been everywhere in the world. I've been most places I wanted to go to. Okay, yes, I wanted to go to Tibet. When I went to Nepal, I was very close, and it's very hard to get into Tibet. And then, so I was very determined, somewhat determined. Probably not determined enough because I didn't make it. But it's not on my bucket list. I've done the math, I've done the research, and I realized that not only really was it, I think I would have been an overrated experience. I wouldn't have gotten near it, because the bottom line is I learned early on that you don't get to just walk around. You're wherever you go, there is a Chinese guard with you that's keeping everybody in line. The villagers and everybody has to obey these kind of, so you're not getting the genuine experience at all, right? And it's really hard to get into. It's a very, very remote place. Anyway, again, the downside, the passive exhaustion, the old soul concept. Old soul maturity and age is an opportunity to develop wisdom. Wisdom is the combination of real firsthand experience combined with knowledge. As we traverse through our lives, we acquire knowledge, we know more things, we spend more time, we accumulate a vast amount of knowledge. We get to select that. Unless you're going to the universities, then they're going to tell you what you're going to learn and how you're going to learn it, which I didn't do. Did it on my own. There's our knowledge part. And then, of course, our experience. What we're experiencing, which is outside of the school. So I'm a graduate of UHK, or wait. HKU, Hard Knock University. That's what I'm a graduate from. Hard Knocks University. I want to get t-shirts for that. I'm gonna start selling those. That's a good little marketing. I think people will buy those. But again, I'm not just going to give them to anybody who can pay for them. You got to show me. You got to prove me you earned it. Did you really go there? And you can't. I mean, I can go order a shirt from Stafford University. I didn't go there. You know, you shouldn't be able to get one if you can't do it. If you can't do it. So where was I going with that? I'm sorry. I got lost in my own little jokes.
You're at Hard Knocks University.
Right. No, before I went into my stupid little jokes that I seem to admire myself so much for.
Knowledge and wisdom, knowledge.
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah. Yes. Thank
wisdom.
you, Lori. You're always such a pleasure to have here. Thank you. Yes. That again, in our youth, we're all raw experience. We can't process much. We're just experiencing it, right? It's just all coming in. We're just doing it. And that's great. In our power years, we're gaining experience. We're working. We're doing things. Acquiring knowledge along the way as well, but we're primarily being a force of action and motion. Our wisdom years, our wisdom phase is when they come together. So maturity allows us to have this. And maturity is not about age. I know a lot of people that are as old as I am or much older, and they're dumb as shit, okay? They're immature, they're childish, they're shallow, they're dumb as shit. I don't want nothing to do with them. And I know people like Brandon, my son, the firefighter man, that is wise beyond his years. Okay. He just has an intuition and a wisdom that I envy, that I wish I had half of when I was his age. He's also a youthful, stubborn, pig-headed son of a bitch. Okay. Because he's 31. Is he 31 or 30? 31, I think. 30, it's 2024, he's 31. All right. And so, again, the combination of these things, past life accumulation is just that. What I have access to by connecting into my eternal experience and existence, rather than just one or two, or specifically one. that is reality show content and social media shit. That's a weak menu. I don't want nothing on that menu. As a vegetarian, I go to some place, I'm like, yeah, I don't want anything here. Some French fries, please. That's all I can have. I'll have some rolls, which I'm pretty happy with, thankfully. And so what I have access to is countless lives of raw experience that were shattering and alarming and stunning and glorious in so many ways. And I also, the things I learned from in those lifetimes accumulate so I can refine them. What not only did I learn in this lifetime, but what should I have learned? What did I not learn that I clearly should have? Hindsight. Hindsight, that's a whole other kind of coined phrase I think I should coin, is past life hindsight, right? The benefit. We want to remember that everything in our lives is the raw materials. What we're taught in the Rosic path is that Maya, samsara, the world, the material phenomena, is not an illusion. It's totally real. Your perception of it is an illusion. What you think of it is not real, but it itself is real. This is tangible, my computer. This is real. This is legit. That exists. It's not my illusion. What I think of it can be an illusion. And that all of these things within samsara, Maya, is real. And it's taught in the Bhakti path that Maya is your friend because it kicks your ass. Because it reminds you again and again and again that no matter how much joy you find there, it's always going to be temporary and insufficient. As the Buddha said, there's only two results from desires: greed or disappointment. You're either going to want more, or you're going to want more, or you're going to be disappointed that you didn't get what you wanted. That's it. We evolve with this. Maya is there to kick our ass, to remind us again and again and again that even the joys, even the best, and that's kind of my joke, is that I say, is this all you got? When I look at Maya, and that's what I was doing when I was a child. I was like 3 and 4 years old. I'm like, is this it? Like, this is the whole kind of thing? Like, what do you guys, this is bullshit. I was like a child thinking like is it get better than this? I hope it gets better than this. That Maya is your friend because it reminds you again and again that you can find a true joy, true bliss, anand, within it, because it doesn't have it. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not able to achieve eternal bliss from the world. It's because it doesn't have it. You can't go to that well because that well is dry. So Maya is constantly reminding you with disappointment and kicking your ass that the only place to turn to is God, divine love. It's the only thing you're going to get. It's the only thing that's going to satisfy you. That's what you wanted all along. And every time you go back to the world and try to find it there, it kicks your ass in some other way. Even if it gives you something you want, it's simply reminding you, oh yeah, but you want a little bit more, don't you? Oh no, I'm good. But if you got $1 million along top of that, would you? Yeah, I would take that. Because you are greedy. Right? So you're not quite satisfied. You could handle more, you know? Or, yeah, I didn't get what I want. That sucks. I put a lot of time into that and I didn't get what I wanted. So Maya is our friend in this way, and our past lives are the accumulation of this to remind us again and again that we have one primary goal, one only goal, that all these lifetimes are simply there as raw materials. And again, as I point out, I think fairly eloquently within the portal, that I'm saying that all this stuff is just the raw materials that I've been given. As I go through the sadhana purge chapter in the fourth act of the book, sadhana purge, which is very intense and very beautiful, I defy anybody to read that and not have tears of joy, beauty, and sorrow. Because it's all coming into focus. And I'm realizing that God was with me the entire time. Not just near me, but holding me through all of it. And I didn't know that. And reminding me again and again and again. And I was kind of like, so, you know, since I'm pretty sure I understood that I could find no joy in Maya, that I could only find joy in you, why did I have to get in the face by a truck? Like, wait, was I confused on this issue? Was I not quite getting the message? Because I'm pretty sure I knew it. I didn't direct my life towards that all exclusively anyway. My theory is that the magnitude of events in your life is regulated, influenced by, and facilitated by your Akashic agents that, again, they're working with the materials they have. You did this in your past lives. This is what we've got to work with. This is what's on our menu. We can arrange these events in certain ways to give you the best benefit and opportunity. That's all we got to work with, what you gave us. You created these karmas and sanskars. They're what we got to work with. We're going to put them together and play them out for you to give you the best benefit you can. So it's our raw materials. Again, as I go to the temple in the ashram, and I'm in this environment that's complete. When I'm in the sadhana hall, when I'm in the bhavan hall, in India and the one here in the US, and I'm immersed. Everything on the walls, the altar, everything on the walls, every direction, no matter where I turn my eyes. Same within a Catholic cathedral. What I love about Catholic cathedrals is stained glass windows, the pew, the altar, everywhere you look, incense, every sense you have, all 5 of them is immersed in one central focus: your spiritual attitude. No matter what you look, see, do, listen to, hear, smell, it's all bring you back to that. This is the raw materials. It's up to us to use them. On many days, I'd go into the sadhana hall, you could say church, whatever you want, in the sadhana hall, and be thinking about what my problems are. Oh, I got to take my car in for a tune-up. Oh, I got to talk to this client and student. Oh my God, they're not getting it. Like, what am I going to do? Oh, I got to make sure this person pays me. I got a bill to pay. And I realize I'm not really present at all. I'm immersed in this environment and I'm completely somewhere else. I'm not present. But I can quickly come back to being present because I'm in this atmosphere. We want to create this atmosphere. Again, all these raw materials. My guru, well, same, right there too. Same thing, different form. One thing, 2 forms. Has given us thousands, literally thousands of kirtans that he has composed, the music and the words for. They fit every mood you're in. You want to be happy and dance? He's got kirtans for that. You want to be someone that's a little bit more morose, a little bit more dark, like I do. I like the very deep emotional longing stuff. He's got that too. Something in between, playful acts, all of them. Reminding us again and again and again that everything around you is the raw materials that you can use if you want to direct it, apply it to your sadhana. Every event. And that's our obligation. As I often joke about going out to the grocery stores, I don't want to do that. And I just want to keep the body count down. I want to go to and from the store without having a body count. People annoy me. And I'm sure I'm annoying that. And I will often say that that's because that particular experience is hard for me to maintain in these spiritual perspectives. It's not because it's so anti-spiritual. It's not that. It's because it not only has no spiritual atmosphere to it, but also because I got to focus on it. I got to get it done. I got to put my mind in that kind of thing. It doesn't align very well. All right, we're going to wrap up. I think we're losing some people here anyway. It's been almost 8:45 minutes, so it's been a little bit. Chloe, you look like you got a question. Are you popping with a question?
I gotta plug in or I'm gonna be gone too. Hold on.
All right. Barb, you got a question or got a topic? Anything you want to add?
Well, I still feel as I always have, I do not want to know. I realize there's value in knowing because it could help you in the future, but I'm good. I really don't want to know what horrible things I've done or even the good stuff because, well, all we've got is today, actually right now is all we have.
Right.
And I've just always been brought up and learned just to make the best of right now and do the best for people, even if they make you mad, do the best you can with right now.
With what
And
you've got.
that's how I live.
You do the best with
So
what you've got. And what you've got is the materials that you got. And that's all around you.
That's right.
That's
right.
The accumulation of past experiences in this life, past life, whatever. And it all does is, as you said, come down to this right here. And again, to quote from one of the chapter beginnings that quotes Swamiji that says, the past is bygone, the future is uncertain. All you have is this present moment to devote
Right
your
now.
mind and heart and your love to Radha Krishna, to God. That's it. This present. So all of it is your materials to simply say, oh yeah, be here now, be here now, be here now, you know? And what do you know there now? Do you think about the past? You think about the future? That's okay, as long as it pertains to what you're doing now, which is to focus on the God power. God's
And
love.
I've learned plenty from this life. I mean, what I did 20, 30 years ago, most of it was pretty okay, but I learned a few things of what not to do. I mean, we all have. And I apply that now.
Well, I think that's kind of where, again, it's not like the peace that you're experiencing now and stability and the comfortability to not have to question and look for those lessons all the time is because you've done the work.
Right.
I mean, again, that's the beautiful thing about so-called retirement is that supposedly we're supposed to be able to kind of rest on our laurels a little bit and appreciate and be able to just kind of experience it now, instead of going to work all so hard all the time on it. And so,
Well, but it's left me time to do other work, and that's good
Right.
too.
And to be elevate that. So what we have here, Elizabeth said, thank you, Krishan, for your guidance and teach this morning. I appreciate your time. Chloe, Barb, and Lori for showing up. I look forward to our next lesson. So she just wanted to say goodbye. And was there another one? Let's see. So both of them had to sign off. And I guess we'll wrap up. Let's go do our sadhana.
We shall.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'll see you
Nice
soon.
to see you, Chloe. Take care.
You, Barb. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, Chris.
Bye. This will be recorded, so it'll be saved.
Okay. Bye.